All right, so I painted the things I could fix, and I did a little moving to get my leaves over here looking pretty good. So now we have these gaps that we have to deal with. So, of course, if you were so inclined, you could draw some motifs in the spirit of this design. But what's probably more likely is that you can copy motifs that exist within this pattern to fill them in. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. It is extremely important that you have the background color selected as to whatever your background is. So in this case, cream. Otherwise, this just simply won't work. And we've used the red selection tools. Now we're going to use the white selection tools. And let's suppose that I take this kind of tulip-like motif. When I double click inside it, this becomes what we call a pattern brush. Now behind it, there is that brush, okay? And if I wanted to, if I was going to work on this over several days, I would probably want to save that because I'd be closing my file. And if you've got any experience with Pointcarre at all so far, if you've got a weak internet connection, it decides to shut down, it doesn't like to be left unattended, etc., etc. So if we look here, this is the pattern brush selection tool. Always our artwork, it'll say it's one of the things, and here's our new pattern. Now, before I start filling in with these, I'm going to select some other things. So I have to put new, okay? If I don't, what will happen is that I'll lose that first one that I made. So let me zoom to something else. Let's see what I can choose. How about this? Okay, and again, I'm going to use that selection tool. And just because okay, new is selected, I like to double check that because I don't like doing extra work. I'm just trying to decide where exactly. Maybe I'll take this whole thing, which is probably an overkill, but oh well. It's just to really show you how to do this. Okay, double click inside. And so you can tell that it's transparent, that I can put things over. And that is because I have selected cream as the background. When this doesn't work is when you have not selected your background color. So now I've got a new pattern brush. So let's go back to this one. Okay, I've selected this one. I do have, this is my pattern brush tool. Now, obviously, it's the same size, it's going the same direction, and that's probably not the best. And so if you right-click or click Control, up comes this box. Okay, fair warning, folks. You can change things around here, its size, its direction. You can play with its rotation, all of these. But the more you do it, the more pixelated it will become. So my recommendation, so unlike Illustrator, where you've got vector graphics, here these are rasterized. And that's why the more you modify this, the more it will degrade. So I don't want to scare you, but be forewarned. So typically, what would I do? I don't know, I'd probably flip it, and I will change the size. So typically I use the percentage, so I'll keep the proportions 50%. Okay, and now there this is. So I could start to fill in these gaps. Now, I'm not saying that this was like the perfect thing or anything like that. In fact, I wish that it was going the other way. But Okay, so as soon as I click, boom, now it's stuck there. If I wanted to move it later, I would have to use the red selection tool. So your goal, your homework, so to speak, is to make a beautiful repeat. And I don't want you to just do one, I want you to do two. So if you are going to, your cleaned up reduced file, when you go to save this, do a save as. And this time, so I'll do this now. I'll go File, Save As. And I would like you not to save it as a TIFF, but save it as a pattern, okay? And give it a name that you'll remember. So I would like everybody to do one half drop and then another one of your choice. I'm not going to save this now because I'm not finished. I do want to point out one other thing. So we can see there's that little guy that I just put. Okay, obviously not brilliant, and I'm going to have to work on this. But it is definitely your goal to fill this in and keep the spacing, the positive and negative space the same. So when you go to save it this way. Okay, don't save it as a full repeat, otherwise it's going to take up a lot of space. And when you open it, it will open this way, and as soon as you click, it should go back to, I say it should. The times it hasn't is when people have used that overlap. So that is your goal, and I will reiterate this in class. So you have the tools now to do a repeat in Pointcarre. So you're going to have to make several pattern brushes using this selection tool. Make sure that your background color is the same. When you make a pattern brush, do not forget to select new. When you want to change your pattern brush, let's say I change to this one, and I do have to have this. Now I could work with this one. Okay? I'm looking forward to seeing your beautiful repeats.